How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, or welcome to Crystal Lake Breaks. So for today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is an extension of our 411 series. So today we're going to be talking about a specific case that was mentioned in the general overview video, which is the case of Dennis Martin. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be opening up a box of 21-22 O-Pee-Chee hockey cards while we talk about the disappearance and the circumstances of the case. Without further ado, let's get cracking here. On Father's Day weekend of June 1969, one camping trip would end in a mysterious tragedy that remains unsolved to this day. While hiking in close proximity to the Tennessee-North Carolina border, the Martin family, composed of the father, grandfather, and two boys, would begin their journey at a place known as Cades Cove. From Cades Cove, the Martin family would hike to Spence Field, ultimately meeting up with a separate group who would also share the last name Martin, coincidentally. The boys being similar ages, they would begin to play around, enjoying games and jokes while the adults sat together, relaxing in the Spence Field camping area. While playing, the group of boys would begin to formulate a plan. They wanted to surprise their parents and scare them, sneaking up on them before popping out. Not far from the boys, and with the boys in view for the majority of the planning, the group of adults knew exactly what was coming and sat waiting for the prank. At this point, the group of boys would split up, with three of the boys going one way and Dennis Martin going the other. Once the group of three boys had jumped out and finished their prank, the group waited for Dennis, who never showed up. Quickly, Dennis's father would begin searching for his son. The rest of the group would join in, scouring the nearby area for the boy wearing the bright red t-shirt. Dennis's father would head toward an area known as Russell Field, thinking that maybe Dennis had found the trail and headed that way in confusion. Dennis's grandfather would hike to the nearby ranger station. By the time Dennis's grandfather arrived at the ranger station, around 9 p.m., a storm had rolled into the area, causing the skies to open up, rain to pour down, and the temperature to quickly plummet. During the entirety of the next day, rain would continue to fall, and a fog would roll in. Story of Dennis's disappearance would quickly spread, leading to additional hands in the search, including Boy Scouts, the National Guard, local rescue squads, and even Army Green Berets, who happened to be training in the area. The many eyes and ears searched and climbed and squelched through the mud and remaining rainfall. Small footprints belonging to someone with one shoe and a bare foot were found, and the prints were likely the size of a small boy. But the Martin family felt the prints were too large to match Dennis's. Additionally, one singular sock and shoe were found, but further details regarding the size and fit of the shoe and who it belonged to were lost in the details. Over the course of more than 2 weeks, these were the only pieces of evidence found. During this time, the largest search effort in the history of the Smoky Mountains would occur. The Dennis Martin search involved around 1,400 searchers and a 56 square mile area. In the time following the disappearance and after the search had ended, some theories and ideas would surface, as well as some odd pieces of information over which the validity has been debated. One such piece of information was a detail provided by a man known as Harold Key, who told authorities that he had been in the mountains the day Dennis Martin went missing, searching for wildlife. He would allegedly see, along with the other members of the Key family, a strange figure running through the woods as well as a scream. Key's son would state that he thought it was a bear, but ultimately it was allegedly determined to be a homeless man in the area. Over the years, this sighting by Key would be changed and morphed to include details of a red-wearing, boy-shaped lump slung over the shoulder of the figure. One of the last pieces of evidence in the story would surface years after Dennis's disappearance. Allegedly, some men foraging for ginseng would find human remains in the vicinity of where Dennis had disappeared, but none would report it until they finally felt guilty about it sometime later. When the location was revisited, nothing was found. And there we have the details and the nitty-gritty summary of what happened regarding the Dennis Martin case. The case remains unsolved. Dennis Martin was never found, and neither were his remains. But the theories and tales have grown in the time since the disappearance. Some continue to blame whatever lives and lurks within the national parks, with the popular theory being feral and wild people. The man that the Key family perhaps being one of them. This theory is further bolstered, and many theorize, by the presence of Army Green Berets, with the argument being that Green Berets are seldom the part of a search and rescue operation. The general mystery and oddness surrounding a small 6-year-old boy somehow seemingly disappearing off the face of the earth within walking distance from an entire group of people is very strange and leads the mind to wonder and ponder what may or may not have happened. Either way, may the spirit of Dennis Martin rest in peace, and hopefully his family find some small semblance of closure at some point. And that's the story of Dennis Martin, the boy who went missing in the Smoky Mountains, and to this day continues to be the biggest search and rescue operation. So, as we discussed in the Missing 411 video, this is a disappearance that is odd, being that the boy was near a large group of people, pretty much in view, and then suddenly disappeared. But similar to many of these other cases, the theories that are present are kind of out there, specifically the feral wild man theories. He was a young boy. He was not necessarily under supervision, even though he was near that group of people. And a young boy wandering off and getting lost in the Smoky Mountains isn't necessarily the most wild thing to think about. But let me know what you guys think. You guys think that something darker might have happened to Dennis Martin? You think he just wandered off and got lost? Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys want to hear more of these Missing 411 stories. There's a whole bunch more to tell. But I started with Dennis Martin because this is a very popular case that people talk about, specifically because of the involvement of the Army Green Berets. At this point, all of our cards have been broken, the candle is burning low, and the story of Dennis Martin has been told. Hope you guys found this interesting, and I will see you guys on the next one.